I like that my lecture is 50 minutes was introduction to the position that I wanted to show.
And this is not the position you want to show.
No, this is the position I wanted to show. I mean, this is here it starts. Yeah, the whole thing, the introduction was way too long.
Okay.
It basically kind of begins here.
Right. So anyway, okay, black does something. Knight e4, whatever. Yeah.
Now does proceed?
But then the knight on e4 is not great, right? Then you can go. Ah, wait, g4 and then king b3, c2, d3, something like that.
Knight's simply trapped.
The knight is really getting
completely trapped. Very relevant.
But that's not easy to. Once again, I mean, we are talking super grandmaster stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
Mean, how do you?
Not obvious. Suddenly, the knight's trapped inside. So basically, the knight is inside a certain giant cage, but it's a cage. And the knight wants to come back to e5, f7. Because f7 is where it's safe. Like f7 is nice because nobody touches you there. You have 3 moves, so bishop cannot take all of them. Although in theory it can on f6. But okay, let's say, I mean, you want to sort of get the knight back somehow. But now it is trapped in a giant cage. So b4 is a problem. So can you do something about it? Move a go. That's the question.
So instead of king d7, do something. Knight back to d1.
Knight back to d1, yeah. So now I'm going to move the bishop, let's say, here.
Knight f2, g4, no? Yeah, I'm trying to get to f7 now.
Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere, I think. But you also... No, at the same time you do. Let's say before cb king before, you have knight e4.
Knight e4,
bishop f4, knight c5.
Knight c5, yeah. And this
d7 is sort of
doesn't look bad, yeah.
No, sort of a compromise. It's not so bad, yeah. But I'm not gonna go b4. I'm gonna try to
come back with the king.
Come back with the king.
Right. So then knight.
You have knight d3. You want to come back here.
Bishop c3, let's say.
Let's say bishop c3.
Yes. And then black still can.
You're going to probably come around and collect me slowly. So I'm going to play knight b2 here. I'm going to prevent the king from coming back because that's what you basically want. You want to prevent white from bringing the king back in. So you go knight b2. And you want to prevent also b4. Like you want to prevent all of these things and you want to somehow get the knight back in somewhere here. And this would be a very difficult position, by the way. So I thought when I was thinking about it without the computer at some point, I kind of came to the conclusion that probably it's a draw because I didn't see the win. I was sort of thinking, what am I trying to do? How am I going to ever get the king to a4? Knight on b2 is very resourceful, actually. A very resourceful idea. If I go king b5, king d7, I play b4, you are very happy. You take a knight d3, and then your knight is completely different than on e4. It's not trapped anymore at all. Compared to the lines we had seen. It's just a very different situation. You're just not managing that. It's just not happening. I needed bishop e3 and g4 and king b4, but I'm not in time because of knight g3. So somehow this is just not happening. King b5, king d7. Yeah, somehow I thought, yeah, maybe it's just a draw. But actually it's winning, but it's very hard. So I'll kind of show the idea. It's very difficult. So I think it started with bishop f4. Now the point is, if you move the knight, I'm coming back in, right? So it's actually sort of a deep Zugzwang because, okay, king c7 is the move, right?
And then it's what, before c5 or something?
Is what you would... No, but the knight d3.
Oh, yeah.
So...
By the way, rules of chess are not perfect because after b4, knight d3, I declare that I should be able to take on c5 with the king.
Yeah.
And win a piece.
Yes, it's actually true. But it's not, unfortunately. The one who wins the king first is...
Yeah.